I've been sleeping on this champion for a very long time. This is a free daily login champion, guys, and a lot of you guys have been telling me, Skratch, this champion has great multipliers. Skratch, this champion is just great all around for Doom Tower, for Arena, for Hydra Clan Boss. So that's what we're gonna showcase today. And probably some of you guys guessed it. Yes, we are talking about Arix. It's one of the best free daily login champions that we are getting in the game. I can't really remember at what sort of milestones you're getting the champion. It's definitely towards the end game, right? Like, I feel like this might be one of the last champions that you're going to receive as a daily login champion. We have quite a few of them that are dropping on fragments. She is one of the best just for the simple fact that she's a pretty tanky champion and she does bring quite a bit of utility and she's pretty unique. So I'm gonna share with you guys two different builds. One of them that you see right here will be for PvP, and we're gonna have a different build which we're gonna use for PvE, Doom Tower, Hydra Clan Boss, etc. So as an idea, with the A1 attacks all enemies, has a 35% chance fully booked of removing one random buff from each target. This is actually great for Hydra. For Arena as well is pretty good. Now, this is not a champion that I would personally use in a Platinum Arena or anything like that, but it's a fun champion to use in the lower tiers. A lot of people are still not really familiar with the champion and they might just get smacked. And having a bit of accuracy on the champion is actually not a bad idea whatsoever because you don't really have that much polymorph around. With the A2, attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance fully booked of placing a stun debuff for one turn. Transfers a random debuff from this champion to the targets that receive stun debuffs from these skills. Now, remember this part right here, guys, because on the second build is actually gonna interact a bit better with this skill. Then we have the A3. Places an ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Also places a counter attack buff on this champion for 2 turns. And this is on a 3-turn cooldown. Then you have the passive, Cynical. Fills this champion's turn meter by 5% each time an ally inflicts a critical hit. Heals this champion by 5% of their max HP each time an enemy inflicts a critical hit. Now let me know in the comments down below how many of you guys are already using Arix and where exactly you're using her, how you built the champion. When we are talking about blessing, I really think that one of the best blessings for her will be Cruelty, just because she has AoE attacks that will help us quite a bit. Now, if you are kind of like worried about the damage that she's taking, Ward of the Fallen would be another option, especially for the build that we have right now. Ward of the Fallen will be the best build all around because we're bringing in that damage reduction, we're gaining extra HP, extra crit damage, so that will actually help us quite a bit. You know, the bone armor will reduce the damage. So I have her built at the moment on a Savage and a Defiant set. The Defiant will actually bring me more damage reduction too. One thing that is not that great with the champion is that she puts the ally protection on the allies, but she doesn't buff herself with a shield or with an increased defense or with a strengthen or anything to help her a bit, to keep her alive longer, you know. So a Defiant set will actually be a nice touch to it. How I mentioned Savage, right? Total stats, 87k HP, 3.5k defense, 223 speed, full crit rate, 237 crit damage, 212 accuracy. And this is the weapon right here. I haven't actually glyphed the gear, guys. I haven't went to take the strongest gear that I have available. The bottom pieces are pretty nice because they're glyphed already, they're ascended already, and they ascended nice, you know. This is the helmet right here. We have the shield, crit damage gloves. These are pretty nice. HP chest piece, ascended with HP, so we got lucky on that. And we have speed boots, ascended on defense. This is the ring right here. We have an HP ring. Crit damage amulet, I went for a reaction one, and of course we have an HP banner. For masteries, guys, we have an offense and defense tree. Helm Smasher S tier 6, we went with Retribution, just in case if we don't have the counter attack buff on, we might get hit, we might counter attack and win the fight, you never know. So typical masteries for a nuker. She's gonna be great, for example, in Tag Team Arena, guys. She's gonna be great as well in Classic Arena, even in Live Arena in the lower tiers. Now, I'm currently in Gold 2 in Live Arena. Live Arena is not open anyway, but I won't be able to use a champion like her in Live Arena in Gold 2 because we literally have the biggest Krakens in the game there at the moment. And it's very hardcore to fight there. So we're in gold arena, guys. I don't think she's platinum material. I don't really need to explain it why, because I'm convinced that you guys are smart enough to understand why she's not that great for platinum arena. She's just not strong enough for it, but she can be tons of fun. So let's actually go around and try to fight some of these teams. Of course, I would not suggest you to go against Mortuma Cup, for example. That is dangerous. So one thing that you might want to do is to bring in a champion that will put unkillable on her, and like this she's gonna be able to stay alive while she has that ally protection, so we're gonna be more than fine. So let's just actually drop that clans, put that unkillable with him, and right now it doesn't matter what's gonna happen. We're actually gonna put our counter attack and ally protection on the rest, you know, and slowly the enemy will get to basically kill himself on just attacking my team. I like that she is gaining some turn meter with a passive. She's gaining a bit of healing too, when is the case, you know. Okay, we actually got resisted right there, but we got counter-attacked, and right now we are smacking the other team. That UDK is still alive, you know. He does have that crazy passive that keeps him alive, plus he is strong affinity, so we might get weak hits left and right on him, and that might keep him alive, you know. But we got that counter-attack buff up and running again. I feel like she's much better, for example, to be used in tag team arena, where you don't really have that many nukers available, you know, because you might be like, okay, I actually need another champion to put in tag team arena, and because she doesn't need increased defense, she doesn't need increased attack, I feel like she can be a pretty solid champion. And right here, let's see if we can actually kill this team. This seems to be pretty nasty. They do have a lot of power in here, so hopefully we're gonna keep them alive, you know. That strength and everything from Mitrala is pretty nasty. So let's put that unkillable. Okay, we got that up and running. We got that up and running. Nice. So hopefully slowly we're gonna get to kill them, you know. That Candraphone, once the Candraphone dies, it's kind of like game over, because they're not gonna be able to do that much. And how you can see, gaining that turn meter is helpful to get another turn and move over to the A2. Hopefully now we're gonna end that Candraphone. Oh, that was pretty close, but we landed a stun, which is good. We almost got that Ursaga down. That's kind of like the main champion that is putting in work for them here. Get a bit of healing up and running. We can kill Candraphone, maybe, once we're gonna pass that UDK. Okay, so Swift Parry procced on him. I'm pretty convinced that he's definitely gonna attempt to go for Eric's, but I think he's gonna buff before that, you know, so I think we're safe. Mitrala is gonna attack us, but we don't have this on. We should have it now. Okay, I knew that he was gonna buff. I just had that feeling. And slowly and surely, hopefully, we're gonna get them down. Now, they are strong affinity. That kind of like causes some issues every now and then, depending on the RNG, of course. And seems like he went for Manitan instead of her, which is great. We want to see that, actually. It's more beneficial for us. We're going to be able to revive, but we're going to do that later if needed. Okay. Again, we don't have the counter-attack. That candy, you see, is still veiled. We survived. We counter-attack from the masteries. That's why we got that retribution on. Now we're going to put that up. Hopefully, we should be getting the unkillable buff soon, you know. There we go. We got that up and running. So now they're definitely going to get to kill themselves on my counter-attack. Madame Series getting polymorphed, nothing unusual. AoE, bang, we got them down too. Now a lot of champions can do damage, guys, okay? The main idea is that she's HP based and she's pretty fun to use because of the ally protection, the way her passive works, and allowing her to kind of like rotate the skills a bit faster. The ally protection being on a 3-turn cooldown. Yes, you do need to have a bit of setup with her to play around. For live arena, I feel like she can definitely catch a lot of enemies off guard. I've encountered quite a few while I was progressing through Gold 1. I'm currently in Gold 2. We're definitely not going to see any Erixes in there. She's just not the right material for that high tier, you know. Even this one right here, it could be a pretty decent option. So we're going against Haprak. Let's see how we are actually gonna do it. Are we gonna be able to put that unkillable before? Yes, we are. So that's a slow arbiter, actually. Pretty slow arbiter. She must be missing gear. Okay. And once we're gonna buff right now, they're not gonna be able to do. I'm not even gonna use that with with Madame Series. I just wanna see how well we're gonna do without it. Okay, another one. And soon we're gonna get that Arbiter down. And once she's down, the main thing that can recover the team is gone, you know. So I feel like, okay, we landed the stun, beautiful. And I don't have very high accuracy because I'm a bit worried about polymorph, you know. 200 accuracy seems to be like the sweet spot for these tiers, you know. So if you can get 200, 250 accuracy, you're gonna be spot on with it, you know. There we go. UDK going down. It does take a while to kill this bad boy, man. It does take a while to kill this bad boy. And for example, guys, if you have a Kyoko, I was gonna mention her. She's so great to run them together because she's gonna put the increased defense from the passive. She's gonna be able to bring in another ally protection, and just keeping the team strong together, you know, to have a lot of buffs on them is gonna be great. Plus with Pythian's passive, that's another thing that kind of like comes in play, and that can be pretty beneficial all around. So one of the best PvE builds in my opinion, guys, is going to be a stun set, because like this, she brings you a lot of utility. Faction wars, dungeon waves, Doom Tower waves. Even for Hydra, you can run her like this. Of course, you're not gonna stun the Hydra heads, but it's still gonna be a build that's good all around. So it's not designed specifically only for Hydra. Now, why would you want to use this champion in Hydra? Mainly, attacks all enemies, has a 25% chance of removing a random buff from each target. Now, if you are planning to use this champion, for example, as a Hydra Mischief tank, you're going to have to build her with resistance. And the reason why you're going to be able to do that is because of the counter-attack buff that is placed on this champion. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that she doesn't really buff with any other thing to make her have more buffs than the allies, because she's gonna put ally protection on the rest while she's gonna get a counter attack. So basically everybody's getting a equal amount of buffs, you know. So it's not necessarily the best mischief target. That's why I chose not to rely on her as the mischief target. But basically on this build, even though she is built with full crit rate, we're not gonna go with very high crit damage, because right here, guys, is one trick with a ally protection, basically, right? So the way the damage works from the ally protection is the more crit damage we have, the more damage we're gonna get. And that's for the champion that buffs with ally protection. So it might be a thing that not all of you guys are aware of, you know, so I'm just kind of like letting you know. Total stats on her, we have 80k HP, 2.8k defense, 230 speed, full crit rate, 155 crit damage, 376 accuracy. Now this accuracy will be enough for Doom Tower, will be enough for Hydra, so we're gonna be able to strip buffs with the champion. If we're gonna do a run on hard mode floor 91, for example, guys, we're gonna have a double ally protection in here as well, just for the fun of it. We're gonna have Pythian to carry a bit the team, Madame Series to land that defense down, just to make this a bit faster, you know, and Dragstar to bring in a bit of extra damage. Now what's gonna be nice in here are all these stuns dropping and her removing the buffs with the A1, you know. Look at that. Look how beautiful it is, dropping all those stuns around. She's such a massive crowd control champion. It's gonna be so powerful for a lot of you guys to use her on a build like this, especially if you are struggling on a Doom Tower waves. Another couple of stuns in there, getting that healing back. You will have to use a pretty decent healer to constantly give her something back, just because she's getting damaged quite a bit with ally protection. How I mentioned, if she doesn't have a strengthen, if she doesn't have an increased defense or a shield on herself, it's a bit harder for her to soak all that damage, you know. That's why having a set like a Defiant is actually not a bad idea. But check that out, we landed a lot of stuns in here, and I'm very curious to see the total damage at the end, because we do have Dragstar, who's built for damage. I'm gonna show you the build once we're gonna be out of the run, and he does put the HP burn, which does a lot of damage on waves, where we have champions with so much HP, like here, for example, you know. Landed a couple of stuns in there as well. We did manage to get that defense down, which was not great. But here we go. Here we go. We are back with ally protection, with a counter attack, and slowly just dropping hits on them. Look at those stuns. 4 stuns. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And we're removing some of their buffs too with the A1, which is so nice. Yes, it's not something very fast. It's not like a Seer team. It's not like a Calvalex and Xavier team. But I feel like it's definitely something that is pretty decent, especially if you're progressing to the game. You're struggling with the waves. You're struggling to kill a lot of these very tanky waves in here. And there are a lot of crazy champions with crazy passives and crazy skills that can be a bit of an issue. So going for a more supportive sort of team like the one that I'm running right here might be the wisest choice if you are struggling. You know, yes, it's not fast. It's not like 15 or 20 turns, but there we go. Look at all those stuns. Look at all those stuns that we managed to land in there. Just beautiful. And hopefully we're going to get that cleanse from Pythian, because it is getting pretty dangerous in here. So much defense down on my team, you know. Risks are just too dangerous. We actually got the revive instead. That's fine. Okay, provoke. Hopefully we're gonna cleanse now. Look at how many buffs they have, man. How many buffs they have. Okay, we remove some buffs, landing some stuns. Beautiful. Finally, we got that cleanse in. We do need a bit of healing. Now, whenever they hit us with a crit, we are getting a bit of healing back from the passive. It's not necessarily enough to keep you alive, especially if they're bringing AoE attacks, because if they're hammering your team, she's gonna get hammered too. And look at all those stuns on them, and that's mainly from the A1 and constantly counter-attacking. And then whenever she gets a chance to use the A2, is even better, you know. I'm so curious to see the damage though, considering that I removed the crit damage gloves from her. So let's see. Let's turn that off. So we have Dragstar with 1 million damage. You can see it right here. And we have Eric's with more damage than Dragstar. And check out, Dragstar is a +2. And look at his build, right? 214 speed, almost full crit, 4.8k defense, 250 crit damage. And he's still not doing as much damage as her. And she's not even built for damage anymore. She only has full crit rate, basically. And he has the HP burn too. What a massive difference. Now, let me quickly show you, for example, a team that you could run in Hydra. So we can run a team like this, guys. I actually have a Pythian built with a bit of resistance. I haven't really changed Molly to be the mischief target. We have a Artec for decreased attack, HP burn. We have block buffs from Ugo, defense down. We have another cleanse from there. I don't have Inquisitor, Shamael, or a Duchess in here to be prepared for the Head of Torment. But you know what? I feel like we're gonna be fine with a couple of cleansers in here. Let's land that provoke. So right now, because I do have that immunity, the Head of Mischief is going to target my Molly, because she is on the arena build. I just chucked her in there to help me with the provoke on the Head of Decay, because one husk is just not enough to get the job done, basically, you know. And let's just put that counter attack up and running. Molly lost the buffs, that's fine. Let's do some damage. So basically, we're going to be able to get quite a bit of damage from the champion in here. I'm actually going to put it on auto. I will target the Head of Decay though, to ensure that Molly is going to provoke the right head and stuff. We have that HP burn up and running. Artec is going to drop quite a bit of damage too by detonating that HP burn, you know. And with the A1, she actually strips buffs. Now, for example, if the enemy will have the Toxic Cloud on and we're only going to weak hits, is not really going to be very beneficial for us in here, you know. But still, she will get a lot of turn meter. Not only that, she's gaining turn meter from her passive. We remove a buff from there, nice. So we remove that increased attack from the Head of Rat, which is great. Not only that she's getting turn meter from her passive, but she's getting turn meter from Molly Tankard too, you know. So that actually can be pretty beneficial. I do have a Blood Shield accessory on Pythian. So like this, the Head of Mischief will target him as the target. Is gonna be the target for the Mischief Head most of the times. Of course, not when Molly has the counter attack on. I literally just decided, okay, let me just put Molly in there, because one husk is not enough. It's not enough to keep the provoke. Even though it seems like he's doing a pretty good job. He landed the provoke every single time so far. So that's pretty good. And we're already doing pretty good damage. Turn 13, 5 million damage. Yeah, this is hard. It's not brutal. It's not nightmare. But that's fine, you know. It's still a pretty good team to get the job done. You know, like a good idea. It's gonna work just fine on brutal as well. Even on nightmare, you know, if you have the right stats on all your team, and probably just work a bit better on your Molly Tankard, make her the mischief mischief target and stuff, you know, kind of like work more on the team, is gonna be more than fine, you know. And I am very curious to see a bit her total damage here at the end compared to Artek, for example, right? Because Artek melts bosses. So we got the head of Torment in here just to mess us up. We do have a couple of cleansers, how I mentioned. It really depends how good the RNG will be, you know, like, are we constantly gonna get that fear to proc on everybody? Because I'm not gonna manual it, guys. I'm just gonna let it go on auto. Strip some of the buffs, nice. Remove all the buffs from them, you know. There we go. That should be the counter attack now on her. There we go, beautiful. And the more AoE heads on the board, guys, the better for us, because she's gonna get to counter attack more like this and just constantly hit them with the A1, you know. So we have the Head of Suffering, AoEs. We have the Head of Blight. Even the basic skill is AoE there, which is great. Head of Torment is not AoE, and the Head of Rat went down. He was AoE, but unfortunately not the case right now. Okay, turn 32, 9 million damage. Landed the HP burn, beautiful. We have the decrease attack. I'm curious what head we're actually gonna have a spawning on the right side. Okay, another counter attack, freeing our champion too. Beautiful. So we got the Head of Rat again, nice. I prefer this instead of having the head of Mischief, for example, because I'm just not so prepared for it. You know, of course, the Head of Torment is not great in here, but we're gonna have to make it work. And it seems like everybody's targeting the Head of Torment. That's why I actually prioritized it on a different Hydra head, because everyone was going for the Head of Torment. Sometimes they go based on affinity, sometimes they go based on the HP, you know. Turn 38, 12 million damage, 4 minutes in, and we are getting the job done, basically. We are getting the job done. Look at all that thermometer that we gained as well from the passive with the crit hits. The more crit hits we're getting from the team, the more thermometer she's gaining, you know. So would be nice to have decent crit rate on everybody, you see. I think it's 5% thermometer for every crit hit, if I'm not mistaken. So that will add up, considering that we have 4 Hydra heads to hit, and it's the same on waves, you know, like when you're hitting 5 enemies with a crit hit, directly 25% thermometer. Here, directly 20% thermometer. So that allows her to rotate so freaking often. Like you guys can see how fast she's actually rotating. Plus the thermometer from Molly, how I already mentioned, is just so nice, you know. 14 million damage, beautiful. Getting a bit of healing when we are getting crit as well. Oh, I think I mentioned that before. It's just not enough to sustain her, you know. Like, she definitely needs a bit of help from other champions here. There we go. Head of Suffering, devouring my Python in there. Luckily, we landed that defense down, and hopefully we're gonna get enough damage done. We're not weak affinity to it, so we should be able to rescue our Python before things are going south. Okay, Head of Blight again, the Head of Torment, coming to give us a bit of pain. And Husk is a solid damage dealer here, you know, like, it's true on a hard difficulty having enemy max HP is not necessarily the best thing, because you have raw DPS champions with good gear, they're gonna be able to out damage the enemy max HP. But I'm curious to see kind of like how they compare. So we need 3 million damage, and I'm gonna stop the run. Beautiful, the ally protection up and running again. And honestly, I gotta say, we're not really in danger of losing her, you know, because we have the extra healing from Ugo as well. Maybe the Leech might drop in as well every now and then on some of the heads, and how she counterattacks and she's AoE, she might get some healing back if we have a couple of War Master procs and stuff like this. So that's pretty good, you know. There we go. And we're almost at 1 key. Probably she's taking one more turn and we're gonna have it. We're going to have it. Get that thermometer up and running again. Rotating, cleanse, block debuffs. Beautiful. Python, another amazing champion. And there we go. We got a 1 key damage, guys. That's kind of like what I wanted to see. Let's end battle. Check the results. I'm not gonna save the key because I've already done a running here. But actually, wow. wow, she's actually out damaging Husk here. So we have Eric's with 5 million damage, almost 5.1. Artek almost double the damage. Yeah, HP burn detonation, yeah, is king, you know, like 100%. And Husk with 4.6 million damage. Enemy max HP, he does bring the provoke. And honestly, she's not even built for damage like that crazy. You've seen the build was the stun build that we had on her. On a Relentless or something different, she could potentially do even more damage. But guys, that was all for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. Let me know if you are already using the champion. How do you use the champion in Arena, for example, in Tag Team Arena, Live Arena, Classic Arena, Hydra, Doom Tower Waves? What's the build that you have on it? What's the build that you have on her? Appreciate all of you guys watching. Much love, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.